moves to reconsider the 2027 presidential election date have prompted the National Assembly to cut short its recess and reconvene for an emergency plenary session. In a notice signed by the clerk to the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlano, lawmakers were directed to resume at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, as very crucial decisions shall be taken by each chamber during the session. It added that senators and members should reschedule their engagements accordingly. However, sources revealed that the session is primarily to review the February 20 presidential election date announced by INEC amid concerns that it falls within Ramadan. INEC had earlier acknowledged the concern, stating that it remains sensitive to all legitimate concerns that may impact electoral participation and may seek legislative intervention where necessary. The presidency has accused former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai of attempting to create tension in the country. Senior Special Assistant to President Bola Tinubu on Media and Publicity Temitope Ajayi said this in a post on his verified X handle today. Ajayi added that El-Rufai's actions were aimed at diverting attention from the massive corruption allegations he faces in Kaduna State. He further alleged that the former governor was deliberately spreading misinformation to damage the government while portraying himself as a victim of persecution. The development follows El-Rufai's comments during a national television interview in which he criticized the All Progressives Congress-led federal government after returning to the country. His return was also marked by an attempted arrest by the Department of State Services (DSS) at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, a move that has sparked nationwide debate. You're still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Still on El-Rufai and the National Security Advisor, the Office of the NSA has responded to Malam Nasir El-Rufai, former governor of Kaduna State, who earlier sought clarification over the alleged importation of a toxic substance from Poland. In a letter to Nuhu Ribado, National Security Advisor, El-Rufai had said information available to the political opposition leadership showed that there was procurement of approximately 10 kilograms of thallium sulfate by the Office of the National Security Advisor. He noted that given that thallium salts are highly toxic and tightly controlled substances, he believes it is important for public safety, democratic accountability, and for maintaining public trust to confirm the following details. 1. The intended purpose and end use of the imported thallium sulfate. 2. The supplier identity and whether the material was imported under an existing chemical or defense permit. 3. The total quantity and specific form or concentration being procured or already procured. 4. The storage and security arrangement for the material upon arrival. 5. The regulatory oversight and coordination in place with NAFDAC, NCDC, and relevant public health and environmental agencies. 6. Whether any public health risk assessment or hazard mitigation plans have been developed given the compound's extreme toxicity. El-Rufai noted that he wants to stress that the inquiry is made in good faith, solely to ensure that due processes, safety standard, and transparency are observed. He noted that public confidence is the integrity of national institutions is strengthened when potential risks are openly addressed and managed. But in a response published on Sunday night, the Office of the National Security Advisor replied him, denying the allegations and asking him to supply any evidence he has to the DSS for a thorough investigation. The letter, written by Brigadier General O.M. Adesuyi on behalf of the NSA, noted that he should clarify on the alleged procurement of approximately 10 kilograms of thallium sulfate by the Office of the National Security Advisor. He noted that the information concerning the purported procurement is reportedly available to the political opposition, and El-Rufai has been asked to come with proof. Himself and other parties involved who may possess relevant information regarding to the claim are invited by the service to provide any evidence that may assist in an in-depth investigation, establishing the facts and ensuring due diligence. You are still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We took a very short break now. When we return, I'll be joined by Mr. Awa Omiko of the Sunday editorial desk, who will be our analyst for today to give us his own insights and opinions and perspectives on the issues we are discussing today. Stay with us. Joined by Mr. Awa Omiko. Welcome to the World News at 12. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, fine. And you?
I'm very well. Good to have you here. Good afternoon. Let's begin with a very disturbing video that is currently making the rounds on social media, where it seemed that the Nigerian security agents and agencies are looking away as bandits and terrorists are advertising their weapons online and also advertising to other gunmen, people will call unknown gunmen, bandits and terrorists, to come and buy from them. They had a large cache of weapons. Anyone who's watching on YouTube right now can actually see that video being displayed on our YouTube channel. You can actually see in the video they had several different weapons. They had anti-aircraft guns, that is guns that can shoot down aircrafts, that can presumably belonging to the Nigerian security agents when they are in the air. They were advertising AK-47, they were advertising bullets and other weapons of mass destruction. And this is obviously happening in Nigeria, in the Nigerian town. If you recall, during the strike, the U.S. conducted military airstrike in Sokoto State on December 25, 2025. The Nigerian government said they provided intelligence for that airstrike to happen. How come they cannot have that intelligence to know when something like this is happening on Nigerian soil? Because these people are literally selling weapons that will be used against Nigerians.
Well, that is the conspiracy I've been talking about, and the saboteuring and the sabotage in the system. Because if our government, any country outside the world, in fact the global community, we look at it and say these people are not serious. Because you can't tell me that it will be difficult for the Nigerian government to get. No. If you say that, that means a security apparatus are not firm or strong to actually get there. It's just a matter of locating where they are and arrest them. We are not manufacturers. If you look at those countries, those guns, you discover that we are not manufacturers. We are just a marketplace for the manufacturers of these guns to sell their products. What our security men need to do this time is to go after them and get all of them arrested. Because you could imagine, in fact, let me just tell you, some guns can chase away the people in a village, a whole village. Can be disseminated just with 4 guns, 4 AK-47, and that is the nature, that is the magnitude of what those weapons of mass destruction can do. And if you have this in abundance in the system, it's simply telling us that we are still not safe. And this is why the United States sometimes will come in and say like, we are not serious in a chase or in trying to put an end to insecurity in the country. Because it's a very dangerous means of dangerous means, and this is a very dangerous approach to actually telling the world that look, USA is coming and you can't do nothing. And it is equally a dangerous thing to say as security men and not up to the tax. That's exactly what it shows. But they should go after them. Once upon a time, I said it once. I said it once on this platform that one Mr. Man got a dog and called it Buhari, and in less than 24 hours, that man was arrested, imprisoned, beaten, and detained for a while. So why can't we arrest these people? Why must we allow it to still be in the YouTube? Can't it be brought down? You know the signal is telling the world that we are not capable of taking care of our security. And you know the message is sending to the youth and even all to other people that want to belong to that. And you know what it means when such weapons get into the hands of the armed robbers. So Nigerian government should be up and doing before things get out of hand.
All right. Talking about being up and doing, what exactly would it take to fish these people out? We keep talking about political willingness. You know, last week I was talking with one of our political analysts on the United States deploying 200 of their military men to actually come to Nigeria and assist in intelligence and assist with training and every other thing they can use to assist the Nigerian military and security agents in order to curb insecurity in the country. And he asked the question, will these people be coming with the political willingness that is needed to solve insecurity?
Look, no matter if they like, let them come with the best of personnel, and let them come with the most sophisticated weapon. If our people are not willing to apply what they have learned into put those things they have learned into practice, we will end up doing nothing. And if our people are not patriotic, I don't say nationalistic. In fact, all these things we are just being, we are trying to play ethnic jingo into it, jingoism into it, but that which will not work. If we truly want Nigeria to survive, and we are patriotic about it, it's just a matter of days, or even weeks, or even months. All these things will fizzle away. But there are some people milking the system. Within the system, they are there trading. They are more or less making money out of it. And they keep on blackmailing the system. And if you look at it again, it has its own diversions and dimensions. If you look at one angle, people are talking about religion. They were still playing the game of denial. But until everything begins to surface, we know that the game of denial will not help us. Because if you say this thing is happening at Abuja, it's happening in Kogi, it's happening up north, it's not happening in the south or elsewhere, we are just deceiving ourselves. And I keep on saying this repeatedly, that we all have to be involved collectively. And until we wake up to say, all these people has to be arrested and tried. And not just being said they have been tried. Let it be known that they have been tried. And let us begin to do what is applicable in other countries. And I keep on saying the right measures for them is death. If you don't pass a death penalty upon them, you are just wasting your time. You are just like massaging their ego, and they will end up repeating the cycle. So what we need to do is to be up and doing by, let's all have that political will. Let us have the determination.
Mr. Awa, while we're talking about being up and doing, in this video you can clearly see the faces of a number of them, the sellers and the buyers. You can clearly see them advertising, talking about the bullets and what they can do, right? This is not the first time we are seeing this. Towards the end of last year, I recall there was a video that was posted on social media platform TikTok by bandits. I'm not sure if it's the same group, and they were advertising weapons for sale. Right now, it might seem like, oh, these two issues don't tally, but I have to bring it in. Protesters are still gathered at the gates of the National Assembly because they want real-time electronic transmission of results. And one of the reasons why the National Assembly has said that they cannot support that is that, there is no network in some villages, in the hinterland, in the rural areas. But many of these people are in the bush, and yet they can find network to upload these videos online, maybe because they believe that there is nothing that Nigerian security agents can do about it. Is this not a slap on the face of the Nigerian military that used to be the pride of Africa, ECOWAS?
You see, when you begin to talk about downloading and uploading videos, you discover that there are some videos that could be done maybe in the interior, in a place where there is no network. and they will bring them to the city where there are networks, and they will just download them or upload them to make people know that they are at a particular place. That is one. I keep on saying the network, these people can be arrested. The network or no network has nothing. In fact, it is even easier with the network to even arrest them than to say want to trace them, because there is now weapons or instruments that can detect where a particular video is shot and how to get those people. They are not fairies. Neither are they spirits. Neither did they come from Mars or elsewhere. They live on this earth and in the territory of Nigeria, so they can easily be arrested. And that is that. And when it come about electronic transmission of election results, well, thank God for what is going on in the polity. That some people are beginning to realize that they want it. And if the truth need to be said, let us just copy what India did. When it begins to talk about democracy, India is older than us in the parties and in the system. USA is older, but you see that even electronic transmission had its own hiccup in the US, but it succeeded in India. How did it succeed in India? In US, the population of US is less. When I begin to talk about the number of people eligible to vote, the population in US is less compared to that of India. And yet India has more rural areas, and India succeeded. How did it succeed? And I'm using the example of India because India is typical of Nigeria. India is typical of Nigeria. And before colonialism came to Nigeria, it was transferred. It was copied from India to Nigeria. So that is why I'm using the system, the scenario, in terms of ethnicity or whatever. Even in terms of religion, they have more religious group than us. We here, what are we? We just have 3. Over there, they have over 100. But yet, they succeeded. What we need to do is for us to copy what they have done. Let us build the internet. Let the internet be strong. We can easily transfer these results. You need not to overflow that system. You need not to say until you are 100 in a polling booth or 1 million in a polling booth. Let the polling booths be smaller, and let us be able to invest much more money in terms of building these booths and acquiring these machines.
Right.
And we need to be sincere about it. In places, look, I listened to an interview from India, and the man said, even in the most remotest part of India, he said they took the machine there and they voted. So if India can do it and succeed, what stops Nigeria from not succeeding? How many are we? We are less than 300 million. How many are we? But when you begin to count the population of India is 10 times bigger than us.
All right, that brings us back to the issue of political willingness. But let's talk about something that is going on right now, and I'm talking about right now. Protesters gathered at the headquarters of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), and you don't need to go too far. You don't need to wonder why. It's because Nasser El-Rufai is actually appearing there today, and the protesters gathered to say, oh, they're not happy about what's happening. He has just arrived at the EFCC office. His supporters are at the gate protesting, and guess what? They have been tear gas. The video is up on our YouTube platform right now if you are watching. Now, El-Rufai has a number of issues to settle, not just with the federal government, but with the Office of the National Security Advisor. I want to read you the content of a letter that he wrote to the Office of the National Security Advisor, that is Nuhu Ribadu, alleging that the Office of the NSA imported a very toxic, poisonous substance. Now, that poison is colorless, is odorless. That is to say, it can be used to take out anyone, and medical doctors will not even be able to find out what really happened to that person. An odorless, tasteless, and colorless poisonous substance. Now, El-Rufai says, I hope this message finds you well. I'm writing as a concerned citizen to seek clarification and reassurance regarding information available to the political opposition leadership about a procurement of approximately 10 kilograms of thallium sulfate by the Office of the National Security Advisor. I don't want to read all of the letter because of our time, but El-Rufai alleges, last week you heard him say he tapped the phone of the National Security Advisor. He already has questions to answer for that. And now he is revealing what seems to be secrets. If indeed the Office of the National Security Advisor imported this substance, 10 kilograms of it, what is the reason? What El-Rufai is saying, people are asking, are we back to the era of political motivated assassinations?
We should begin to talk about that. Government itself is demonic and a killer. We have had series of cases of government assassinating people, and I must tell you, if that is exactly what El-Rufai is trying to say. Tell me, why have they imported it? For what purpose? Or who are they going to use it for? And I will tell you that during this period, it's just a matter of sending some. Go and assassinate certain people, and before you know it, they put the politics in confusion. And once there's confusion in the polity, what do you expect?
Mr. Awa, the office of the NSA is not admitting to importing this, though, and they've asked El-Rufai to come with evidence.
El-Rufai cannot just be speaking, be saying interrogated him, even in terms of security. But you see, he keeps on talking and keeps on talking. And the government itself, that is why I begin to say, people begin to wonder, what is wrong with our security architecture? This is a time they have to go out to say, how true is it? And how they will investigate it. Because the manufacturers of these chemicals, now the country they sell to, they will tell you the kilometer, the quantity they bought, the time how it was shipped into the country, and this and this and this. There are some commodities in the international market that the buyers will tell you where are you going and where do you come from, and you will identify what you want to use it for. So when El-Rufai is making such allegations, he's not talking babas. He knows what he's saying, and this is the time government itself. In fact, when I mean government, it's like I'm trying to use a blanket medium. This is the time. The security architecture, the security people, and the people involved in crimes like this should go after him, and the people he has pointed out, he has been pointed as being involved. What will it take? Only you keep on denying, and the very moment you keep on doing playing this denial game, we keep on destroying the economy, and we keep on destroying the politics. We keep on killing the people. People keep on dying. Just at election that the man collapsed. He collapsed to do what? And I believe me, this is part of the insecurity. And how are we sure? How are we sure they might not use things like this to plan coup or to assassinate some people, some very important personnel in the government, or that is yet to come into power? And we need to be very, 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 very sensitive. And not only being sensitive, we need to be cautious of the environment which we are. And every information, especially if it is coming from such a high caliber personnel, they need to be properly investigated. Thank you.
Talking about investigation, well, the office of the NSA says the DSS will invite El-Rufai to provide evidence. At the moment, El-Rufai is at the EFCC headquarters. Now, quite a number of people say that these recent revelations is El-Rufai trying to draw attention to himself so that it will look as if he's being politically persecuted because he's a part of the opposition.
No. If he's right, yes, good. If he's not, there's consequences for everything. At that level, he knows what he's doing. And mind you, the man is a lawyer. If he goes in this, he needs to be tried for carrying false news. And you know the penalty for false news. But if he's right, I know it's never going to be found right, because government is the judge and the accuser. So that if he's right, he'll be celebrated. But I must tell you, when it comes to polity, And when it comes to nation building, and when it comes to a situation like this, either the opposition or those in power have to come together to work for the advancement of this country. So we need him to be investigated, to tell us how he got his information, and to tell us where the chemicals are and who imported them.
We can already deduce the way he got his information, according to him, by tapping the phone of the National Security Advisor, which in itself is a security threat. If the communication devices of the National Security Advisor is not safe, what is the hope of safety and security for other Nigerians? But still on El-Rufai being invited to the EFCC headquarters, he went there this morning in a very long convoy. You can see this very big bus with its ADC branded. You can see a lot of cars following him. He went there with a teeming population of vibrant supporters. So some are saying it's either a political witch hunt or he's playing a script, a distracting script with the APC. That is a script to distract the ADC and provide, a very wide lens for the APC in 2027. Do you think that's what's happening? Some people still believe that El-Rufai is a mole within the ADC.
Well, we should allow time to define that. Let us not start for now beginning to preempt what is going to happen. Let's see how this is going to be handled, how this case is going to be handled. Then we'll be able to know if really he is or he is not. But as far as I'm concerned, those convoy is just to tell you that it is possible he may get there and be arrested, or it's possible he may get there and he will be the first person that such chemicals may be used on. So it's like, let us see how they are going to handle this. So the convoy is to show that the Nigerian system, the Nigerian investigation system, when it comes to government, is not trustworthy. That is number one. Because if you have to be in other places, it would have been tried in a way that everybody will know if it is true or not. Now, when you begin to talk about his rule, either to give a leeway for APC or ADC or whoever party that he's interested in, we should allow that to be. Because if you look at what happened in Rivers State, how wicked and it's a cohort, the politics they played, and it's not only Rivers State, mind you. Sokoto, the current governor of Sokoto did similar thing, and others did similar thing, because they are all political jobber men. And when you have political jobber men in a situation like this, they want to make themselves irrelevant, and they want to use anything they can lay their hands upon to create confusion in the polity and to make people and to make themselves irrelevant. Thank you.
One can say that Abuja is really a buzz today, and one would really pity the people who are trying to move around. It's a Monday with the two different protests happening in different areas of the FCT. First up, the people who are protesting saying they want the e-transmission of results, real-time electronic transmission, and the people who are protesting on behalf of El-Rufai and his supporters. Guess what? They're also anti-El-Rufai protesters also gathered right there at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. So it's a lot of Nigerian men and women, Nigerian youth out in Abuja today protesting. Some people have called them jobless. Would you say this is the case? Or these are people who are fighting for what they believe in? But those who are protesting for electronic transmission of results, those who are protesting because they support El-Rufai, and those who are protesting because they are against El-Rufai and they want him to face the music.
I pity people at Abuja, and I can visualize the scenario. Well, they are not jobless. They are all political. They are also involved in politics. They are all political employees. They are not jobless at all. But one take on e-transmission, I think I should, if I'm to comment on that, I will let it be biased. Partially e-transmission, partially manual.
But that's what the National Assembly is already doing, but the people don't want that. They say they want full real time. They don't want anything that has to do with manual, as that will give a leeway for rigging.
Yeah, you can there is no election that is 100% fair. even amid the fairest of the fairest, there's still a portion of a rigging. Can you take what the election that brought Trump in the other time between Trump and El Gore? Can you? That's in the US and even in the UK. But rigging has to be to a minimal level. It could be to an infinitesimal degree. Then that will say it is fair. Because in some places, the blind will vote. Who will tell the blind where to put, where to complete when there's no bridge? How will the blind know is to vote there? Is that not rigging? Because someone has to lead the blind to vote. At least I witnessed that in one of the coverages we went to do in some of the states. I witnessed that, and we talked about the rigging, and that rigging must be reduced to its infinitesimal level. And there's one thing we will always do in a haste. Let us work according to our technological development. There are some communities, in fact, MTN or whatever you call them, these network providers. Sorry that I mentioned MTN. These network providers. You may be by the side of someone, and the person is calling, and they will tell you, sorry, this person is unreachable, and they will tell you the person's phone is off, whether the person is by your side. So in places where network are bad, let it be manual.
So basically, you support the National Assembly saying it should be in two ways, both electronic and. But what about the concerns of the people who say that this will give the political parties, this will enable them to rig elections?
You see, all they need to do is to up their games. You up their games. Be open to the system. If you want the thing to be counted at the booth, be fair to everybody concerned. Not when you get to some places, you will send certain people out. If you're a member of this party, a member of that party, you will send them out. Or you will use talk to harass them, or use the security agency to harass them. No, let us not do that. Let us be fair to all the parties involved. It is only when you are fair to all the parties involved that things will work. Even if you use e-transmission, the people there, is it not human being that will compute those things? Or is it not human being that will be commandeered to where to vote and where not to vote? Is it not human being that will transfer and transmit the results? Is it not human being that will compile all those things? If the fairness begins, we should start with the selection level. Who are the umpires? And who are the people that will oversee this e-transmission? If they themselves are biased, we are going to get zero. We are still going to fall back to square one where we started from, and still suffer the same thing we are trying to run away from. All we need to do, let us make this where there are network failures or where there are no networks at all, let it be manual. Even in US, where people begin to talk of technology, there are communities where they don't have network, and they did the election twice. They went there, voted, people voted, and they did it manually, and now computed it into computer. So if that can be done in Nigeria, that would be it. And let us equally go to India. As big as India is, they still did the thing, took the thing to the rural areas, and people were there. And they in fact, I would want Nigeria to, the senators, the lawmakers, to study the Indian case before making up their minds. And my take for it, if we must bring Nigeria to it, we need partial manual, partial e-electronics, and that's just that. And for those rioting and protesting at Abuja, they are all engaged. They are all doing the needful. We need the mad people to move democracy forward. Democracy don't just grow on a hearsay, a yes or no. You need action. and those people are playing out their own political responsibilities. The law has given them permission to protest. The same law guarantees them the right to what they are doing, only that they must not go about it unlawfully. And that is my stand. Thank you.
All right then, Mr. Awa, let's go back to El-rufai before we conclude the conversation today. The presidency is claiming that El-rufai is trying to divert attention from corruption allegations that have been made against him in Kaduna State when he was governor. And that is the reason why he's attempting to create tension in the country. They say he faces massive corruption allegations in Kaduna State, and he does not want people to remember this about him since he's now a member of the coalition. That is the reason for some of his utterances. In the past, the presidency has claimed that El-rufai was disgruntled because he was not made a minister in President Tinubu's cabinet. While we're talking about this, the federal government has sued El-rufai and slammed him with a 3-count charge over phone tapping claims of the NSA. Like I said earlier, last week, he admitted that he and some individuals listened to conversations from NSA Nuhu Ribadu's phone after it was tapped by a third party. Would you say El-rufai did not consider the import or the consequences of these utterances before he made them, or he, like I asked earlier, he wants to make himself seem like a political martyr, or does he consider himself untouchable because, like you said earlier, he knows the secrets of this administration?
Yes, you see, he used an illegal means to get a valid information. Now there are 3 or 4 things. We cannot say because he used an illegal means to get a valid information, therefore the information is false. That is totally arrant nonsense. But the issue remains that is what El-rufai is saying, is it valid? Is it the truth? Now, that will be a different ball game entirely. Now, how did he tap into the phone conversation? How was it placed loosely? He used the word tap. Which means, who gave him the access to that? At what level were they when he was able to tap that information? I know when you use the word tap in such scenario, it means an illegal and it means a criminal way of getting information. And how did he get, how at what level was it, at what level of discussion did he reach before getting that? So they have known the means of all this. That's what I said, he's a lawyer and he knows the consequences of false information and he knows the consequences of what he's doing. But that he used an illegal means to get a valid information does not make deny the fact that the information is wrong. One, he lets them try him for his criminal cases, for fraud and whatever, for the number of counts they have placed. Let the government try him on that. Then let the government equally come out to tell us the chemical they imported, is it true or false? I wouldn't know if you can remember the case of 2.5 or 2.8 missing. Then we were all children during the time of Professor Awojobi and how it was handled. And you can equally know that they said, who told you? He said they got information in the bus, in the vehicle. He said that means it's not true. But at the end of the day, Obasanjo came out to say yes, of a truth, 2.8 was missing. And that was during the time of, that was when 2.8 was a very big money in Nigeria for any politician to steal. But now, Obasanjo came out to own up and actually made a statement about that. But the government later came out to say no 2.8 was missing. But the issue remains that the government in power there was able to explain how the money went and why and how they treated the case. Let him come out now to say yes, we want it. We want this case. The chemical we imported. These are the reasons why we imported them. The man that gave you this information use a criminal means to get the information and announce to you. But it does not the cleans up the fact that there was an importation. I know he is involved in a lot of cases with the government. Let them go ahead and try him. But but they must not bury this one. They must not say that he's trying to buy time and he's trying to cause confusion. If the government has been open enough, there will be no need of all these accusations or counter accusations. Let them do the needful and let the situation continue moving, because nobody is going to derail that period that has been set for election. Thank you.
All right, then finally on this particular issue, before we go, a lot of Nigerians have been talking about how the arraignment of El-Rufai is so swift. But when we talk about quite a number of other people who seem to belong to the ruling party, whenever there are corruption allegations against them, you see excuses being made. Yaya Bello is an example. And even the people who are responsible for terrorism in the country, how they seem not to be undergoing prosecution as well. But when it comes to the opposition, you see the hand of the law being so swift to judgment.
Remember this former labor man, Oshimole, said, once you cross over to APC, all your sins will be forgiven.
Are you with us, Mr. Awa?
In the polity, in the legal system, and in adjudication of justice. Hello?
I can hear you, Mr. Awa. Go ahead.
That shows the unfairness in the adjudication of justice in this country. The pendulum of justice in Nigeria is always swinging to the side of the opposition. If you bring the who is who in APC, including Mr. President in quotes, and place them at the table, you see one criminal allegations or other against them. But how many of such allegations have been tried to its final conclusion? Is it Oji, the one-time governor of Abia State? Look at all the tax of criminality against him. How many of them? In fact, if I begin to count, we may spend the whole day recalling and counting. It still boils down to the unequal treatment, and that is why you keep on seeing militia groups, and you keep on seeing categorical groups coming up to say the politics is like this, the politics is like this, we don't want this, we don't want that. And that is why you keep on seeing the crowd following El-Rufai, because they know he's not going to get a fair treatment. And that is why when the case of Nnamdi Kanu came up, you see people begin to talk from both sides of their mouth and begin to protest. It's because the justice system is not straight, it's not fair. Because the justice system, the pendulum is always moving to the. In fact, before anything happens, there would have been always a written judgment. Always a written judgment. And if you ask most of those judges, they will tell you this judgment was passed to them to be read out. You can see the case of Ikeme, Justice Ikeme, during the time of Abiola and the rest. So you can, if we go on and on until Nigeria settles itself, until the platforms and until the structure, the state structure settles itself, that is right. Things like this will continue to happen. We need separation of power. That rule of law must be there, and there must be the judges must be free from, must be separated from the executive. And in fact, all these things are just there, only that we fail to apply them to the letters. And if you want to build a viable state, there must be, the rule of law must be there, and justice must be firmly must be seen to have been applied, and seen to be applied and even applied. So that is why things are going on the way they are. And when you look at it, when those oppressed ones, they feel themselves that, okay, we are not getting the right thing we want for this state, and before you know it, they begin to look for a way of concocting and bringing people and begin to call it one militia or the other, because it's like the language the Nigerian state understands is false. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Awa Almiko, for joining me on the World News at 12 today. I really appreciate your presence, your input, your perspective, and your analysis. Thank you so dearly.
Thank you.
You're always welcome. You have been listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that the U.S. has sanctioned 8 Nigerians over links to Boko Haram and cybercrime. Video shows bandits advertising the AK-47s and anti-aircraft weapons. Protest resumes at National Assembly over e-transmission of results. And presidency claims El-Rufai trying to divert attention from corruption allegations. That is a wrap on the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent. Good afternoon to you and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned at 1:30 p.m. Matters will come up with Solomon Ofem.